What's up guys, Rab here from Rabtastic Paints. In today's video we're going to be talking about conversions, or kitbashes if you like to use cool words like us YouTubers. More to the point, we're going to be talking about some MESBG conversions that will hopefully make your life a bit easier and save you some money. And as an added bonus, we have 4 different conversions today, and each of them correlate with a different battle host that you can buy from Games Workshop, which was a complete coincidence. So let's dive straight into the video. The first one we have is Isengard, the place that they take the hobbits to. Now we start off with the unassuming Uruk-hai pikeman, of which there are 10 in the box, and we're going to turn him into a bannerman. The next thing we're going to need is some spare sprues, and I don't mean the contents of the sprue, I mean the actual sprue itself that holds it all together. All we need is a nice straight long part, and that's going to serve as the bar across the banner. Now this is going to fit across the spear, and our banner is going to hang from it. And now to make the banner itself, duct tape. It sounds crazy, but it's the right texture, it's tough as nails, and it's even the right colour. Measure out how big you need your banner to be, and then unroll twice as much duct tape, because you're going to fold it in on itself to remove any of the sticky edges. Don't worry if it's not perfect, you're going to cut it to shape as well. And using your model to guide you for the size, and then maybe even a ruler to ensure you have some nice clean edges. If you know Uruk-hai have nice clean edges, I guess. You want to shape your banner in whatever manner you see fit. The banner manner. With the banner cut to size, it's time to mount it on the spear. And to do that, we're going to cut a couple of holes top and bottom with any sharp instrument that you have. Please use it safely, I don't want trouble for you guys stabbing yourself. And then snipping the end off of the spear, we're going to push onto it. Now that we know that the banner fits the spear, it's time to paint it, because this is your last opportunity. If you try and paint it on the spear, you're going to have a bad time. Whilst you're at it, you also want to paint the crossbar that we chopped off the sprues earlier. With everything sufficiently dried, it's time to fit the crossbar through the banner the same way we fit the spear through the banner, except going across it instead of up and down. And then you fit the banner onto the spear using the holes that you'd already cut earlier. With that in place, a little bit of plastic glue will ensure that the spear sticks to the crossbar. Job done, Uruk-hai banner bearer. Of course, that's just a very simple version of it. You can decorate it any way you want, add some skulls, add some severed heads, a little bit of blood, make it look good. I told you it was going to be an easy conversion, didn't I? Now, the next 3 minis are going to be slightly more difficult, but don't worry about it. If I manage to do it, you guys are going to be fine. They all involve using green stuff to add some details to our minis. The first one is Minas Tirith. Now, a little tip that I've learned when using green stuff, especially this army painted one that comes with the yellow and the blue already stuck together, the bit in the middle where the yellow meets the blue has already cured, so it is almost useless, and I always cut it right out and use the stuff on the sides. Now, with roughly equal amounts yellow and blue cut out, we want to start moulding them together to make green. It does help if you have a little bowl of water on hand to keep your fingers moist. It also makes it easier to work with the actual green stuff itself once it's been formed. Once it's completely green, I flattened it down onto a sandwich bag so it'll be easier to peel off, and then using this cute little rolling pin that Jade had, I flattened it out even thinner. These are small models, you want this green stuff to be super thin, especially for the cape or cloak that we're making. Whilst I flatten it out, I might as well tell you what model we're actually making. We're turning one of our warriors of Minas Tirith into a captain, allowing us to lead more troops into the game. I'd also like to take the time to thank my Patreons for supporting me and my content. It means the world that you wish to financially help me out whilst I make these silly videos. With the green stuff flat, we're going to measure our model against it to see how much we need, and then cut slightly more because you can always take away, but you can't add back on again. With our rectangle shaped cutout for our capes, I leave it for about an hour to cure. This makes it less sticky, less tacky, and easier to work some folds into the capes. After about an hour, we go back to our green stuff and we promote our warriors to captain by fitting them for their cloaks. Now, I picked up a set of these clay modelling tools from Amazon and they are perfect for working with green stuff. One end is sort of rigid plastic for smoothing out and the other end is solid metal for pushing it into place. You use the solid metal edge. If you don't have these, you can use like a toothpick to stick the green stuff in and around the model's neck and armour so that it looks like it's part of the armour. You don't want any vast differences in textures. You want to smooth it out so that it looks part of the mini. And then using the rigid plastic end, you want to keep it wet and use it to smooth out the green stuff to give it a sort of natural flow with the direction of the cape that you want to go in. And then with the cape in place and the basic texture smoothed out on it, you can then use a scalpel to cut away any excess or anything you don't like. You can also use it to make it look tattered, cut off some of the bottom or cut some rips in it. And then once you're happy with the design of your cape, leave it to cure for at least 24 hours before giving it and your model a good paint job to reflect his seniority amongst the Minas Tirith troops. For example, here's my gold highlighted captain, and I'm sure you guys can do a lot better than this. Now you can also use this technique with one of your knights of Minas Tirith to make a mounted captain, because your captains have an option to take a horse and a lance, but there's no actual mounted captain miniature that I can find anywhere. I don't think it exists. Do you know what mini also doesn't exist? An Orc Captain on Warg. Let's make one. Now we're going to start off with two of the same model because we want our captain to look the same on foot and mounted. I've chosen this one because his stance makes him easier to fit on top of a warg. Also, he's got a pick, and the original Orc Captain has a pick as well, and I just like piercing strike better than stab or feint. You're also going to need a mount, and there are 6 warg riders in the battle host. Now, if you've already built and painted your minis, this next step is going to be a bit more difficult. You're going to have to snip them off the base. This took up a lot of time and effort. So for the sake of the video, I'm going to imagine that you haven't already built your model and you didn't accidentally chop off the leg and have to glue it back together. And then we're going to mount him straight onto the warg. Now, like I said, if you use a different model, you may have to cut away some of the fabric or some of the clothes. You might even have to cut away some of the warg to fit him on properly, but luckily this one fits very snugly. Now at the moment it just looks like a regular orc, so we need to give him some bits and pieces to make him stand out from the rabble. Some severed heads should show that he means business. But not that one, because that's Spider-Man for some reason. I don't know how he got there. Now that we've found some actual severed heads from our bits box, we're going to just glue them onto his waistband, both on the mounted and the foot model. Then they get a lick of paint as well as a rein made out of string for the warg. And now we're going to use some of that leftover green stuff from earlier to really pimp him out and give him a fur coat. This time we're going to cut more of a horizontal rectangle and we're going to wrap it around the model's shoulders. Again, we're going to use our tools to mould this, but this time we don't need to be just as precise. This is the skin of a dead animal that's been chopped up by an orc and flung over their shoulders after all. With the fur coat in position, we then want to use the sharp end of the tool to draw some lines on it. This will give it the appearance of fur and also somewhere for the dry brush to show up when we paint it later. Now I painted my fur using contrast paint and then a dry brush of a bone colour. That's how I paint my furs, and they usually look decent enough for me anyway. And that's you. You've got your own homemade Orc Captain with Warg. Last but not least, we're on to our final battle host box, which is Rohan. Now, this is a great box that has 24 warriors and 6 raiders, but any veteran Rohan player will tell you that you really need Royal Guard. Unfortunately, it costs about £47 for free Royal Guard foot and mounted. That's almost as much as this whole box costs. So, what are you going to do? Convert them. Now, I actually made a start on converting these riders into guard already. I painted their helmets gold, their shields gold, and I gave their cape a nice golden trim, but sometimes that's not enough. So once again, we're going to use green stuff, and we're going to use it to give them a plume of horsehair coming out of their helmet. And honestly, of all of the kitbashes, this is the simplest. You're really just rolling a sausage of green stuff and then sticking on top of the helmet, and that's pretty much it. I'm joking, of course. I'm going to give you slightly more instruction than that, but it is really simple. Once we have a sausage of green stuff rolled out, we then use either the scalpel or the sharp end of one of the tools to draw some lines on it to give it the effect that this is long flowing horsehair. This is slightly easier with semi-cured green stuff, so leaving it for an hour or longer really helps. Once that's done, a little moisture should hold it in place, whilst you use your tools or your fingers or anything you have handy to mould the green stuff into the helmet, making it look like it was always part of it. Then it's a case of leaving it overnight to cure, and then once it's fully cured, paint the plume to match the helmet and then paint the hair however you desire. I use Skeleton Horde contrast paint. And that's you got a Royal Guard without paying a royal ransom. And there we have it, guys. 4 easy MESBG kitbashes to save you some money. Not only does kitbashing save you money, but it gives you endless opportunities to customise your models however you want them. I know, for example, at my next tournament, nobody's going to turn up with an Orc Captain on Warg like mine. Unless somebody watches this video and does it. But hopefully that won't happen, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed the video, please like, please subscribe if you haven't already, and please leave a comment telling me what conversions you've done or which ones you'd like me to see. Until next time, take care.